Good evening, I'm Tom Wallace, and welcome to Impeachment Wrap, Where Does America Stand? Our web-only live show that wraps up everything you need to know about today's impeachment hearing. And we begin tonight with a quick refresher if you're just joining us. These impeachment hearings stem from a July phone call between President Trump and the president of Ukraine. The president is accused of withholding military aid to Ukraine in exchange for investigations of President Trump's political rivals. Public testimony kicked off 1 week ago, and we are now on day 4 of our hearing coverage.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Today's testimony came from 3 people: David Hale, the Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs; Laura Cooper, the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Russian, Ukrainian, and Eurasian Affairs; and Gordon Sondland, the U.S. Ambassador to the European Union. Sondland's participation was arguably the most important of the day today. He held lawmakers that there was a quid pro quo, and he personally worked to broker the deal. Our Washington correspondent Alexander Limon reports Sondland also said the highest-ranking officials in the Trump administration knew exactly what was happening.
U.S. Ambassador to the EU Gordon Sondland testified that he personally worked to get Ukraine to publicly announce investigations that President Trump wanted.
Was there a quid pro quo? As I testified previously, with regard to the requested White House call and the White House meeting, the answer is yes.
But Sondland said he didn't realize the company Burisma was tied to the Bidens. He also said he was not part of a shadow campaign to get Ukraine to cooperate with the president.
Everyone was in the loop.
Sondland said President Trump, Vice President Pence, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Energy Secretary Rick Perry, former National Security Advisor John Bolton, and White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney all went along with the plan. Sondland told lawmakers he spoke to President Trump directly about the investigations. The chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff, said Sondland's testimony is among the most significant.
It goes right to the heart of the issue of bribery, as well as other potential high crimes or misdemeanors.
Sondland also told lawmakers that after learning that military aid to Ukraine was on hold, he came to the conclusion that that aid was also dependent on those investigations. President Trump mounted his own defense, quoting one conversation in which Sondland asked him what he wanted from Ukraine.
I say to the ambassador in response, I want nothing, I want nothing, I want no quid pro quo.
In Washington, Alexandra Limon, 17 News.
And throughout these hearings, President Trump has denied any wrongdoing and has repeatedly called the hearings into question. And today was no different.
And let me tell you, it's a hoax, it's a disgrace, it's an embarrassment to our country. Nancy Pelosi has done a terrible job as Speaker. There's never been a Speaker that's done so little. And she's totally incompetent. And Shifty Schiff, he stands up and he tells lies all day long, and even with that. So we have no due process. We can't have anything. And yet, not only did we win today, it's over. And some of the fair press, of which there isn't too much, said this thing is over.
Meanwhile, in Belgium, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo also spoke to reporters about what was happening here at home, even though he admits he did not watch the testimony.
I didn't see the testimony. I'm not going to recuse myself from this. I know precisely what American policy was with respect to Ukraine. I was working on it, and I'm incredibly proud of what we've accomplished. We delivered remarkable outcomes for the Ukrainian people, and I hope that we're able to continue to do so. We got them the defensive systems they needed. We got them the resources. The previous administration refused to do that, and I'm proud. I'm proud that President Trump led that effort to get our policy on Ukraine right. We not only planned for it, we not only laid out a plan forward, but we executed and delivered on it. We'll continue to do that. Our focus at the State Department is on making sure that we get our policy right, execute it flawlessly, and deliver security on behalf of the American people. We've done it for my first year and a half. I intend to do it every single day, and I'm counting on my team to remain focused on that as well.
As we continue to see here on Impeachment Wraps, the opinions expressed in each day's testimony are based heavily on party affiliation. Both sides are hearing the same testimony, but say it has drastically different implications.
Testimony received today was far from compelling, conclusive, and provides zero evidence of any of the crimes that have been alleged. In fact, Ambassador Sondland testified that he presumed the temporary pause in military aid was conditioned on Ukraine carrying out the investigations the Democrats are desperate to portray as nefarious. The Democrats have, as their custom, seized on this presumption as proof they can use it against the president. However, Ambassador Sondland testified in his deposition that when he asked President Trump, "What do you want from Ukraine?" President Trump replied, "I want nothing. There is no quid pro quo." Let me repeat. President Trump said, "I want nothing. There is no quid pro quo."
Yeah, he said no quid pro quo, and then he went on to say exactly what was a quid pro quo and in detail what he wanted. We also have to remember the president's own words on the White House call record. That is quid pro quo.
Just want to make a couple quick observations while we're on a break here, because I think today's testimony is among the most significant evidence to date. And what we have just heard from Ambassador Sondland is that the knowledge of this scheme, this conditioning of the White House meeting, of the security assistance to get the deliverable the president wanted, these two political investigations that he believed would help his reelection campaign, was a basic quid pro quo. It was the conditioning of official acts for something of great value to the president, these political investigations. It goes right to the heart of the issue of bribery, as well as other potential high crimes or misdemeanors. But we also have heard for the first time that knowledge of this scheme was pervasive. The Secretary of State was aware of it, the Acting Chief of Staff Mulvaney was aware of it, and of course at the very top, Donald Trump, through his personal lawyer and others, was implementing it. And so this, I think, only goes to underscore just how significant the president's obstruction of this investigation has been. We now can see the veneer has been torn away, just why Secretary Pompeo and President Donald Trump do not want any of these documents provided to Congress, because apparently they show, as Ambassador Sondland has testified, that the knowledge of this scheme to condition official acts, a White House meeting, and $400 million in security assistance to an ally at war with Russia was conditioned on political favors the president wanted for his reelection. So I think a very important moment in the history of this inquiry. Thank you.
Now, public hearings continue tomorrow morning. David Holmes will testify. He says he overheard Ambassador Sondland telling the president on the phone that Ukraine will start the investigation he wanted. Also set to appear, Fiona Hill. She is a former White House Russia expert and Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman's previous supervisor. The hearings will be broadcast live over Channel 17, as well as on our website, kget.com, and on our Facebook page. And if you cannot catch it as it is happening, don't worry, we'll be right back here tomorrow evening with Impeachment Wrap, Where Does America Stand? That's tomorrow night at 6:45. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. For all of us at Circle 17, I'm Eitan Wallace, and have a great night.